A very warm welcome to each and every one of you. Since I know some of you are from Nottingham, depending upon wherever you are, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, however it is. Welcome to today's session. Like I do understand, uh, most of you are here because you want to get into the domain, the career of being a business analyst, and that's why you are here. But with any change, any next step that we make, we want to be very well informed about it, isn't it? So with that in mind, we will start off with trying to understand what is business analysis. Business analysis, as you would have understood, you would have researched at your individual end, is one aspect of the technological domain, the sector of technology, IT sector. But exactly if you go to see every field, every industry, every domain, so to say, every business is governed by a certain set of processes. There are certain tasks, there are certain business rules over there. And that is exactly where we as analysts come in place. I should have formally introduced myself. I am Nivrita Roberts, like Kristen mentioned. I am the business analyst and the business analyst trainer here at Purple Beard. I also happen to be the teaching and learning coordinator here for us. Getting more into the aspect about what business analysis is. So business analysis is a system of analyzing business processes, the data, and the systems to identify opportunities for improvement. We as analysts, we'll be going through a big ocean of data. The data is crazy, but data is again fact. All the work that we do, our analysis work, will revolve around data because that gives us factual evidence to decide how we move forward, to decide our strategies and moving ahead. Work that a business analyst does, most of our work is directed for improvisation of processes, and also we're trying to do a little refinement on the current systems. We are trying to try to identify where the pain points are, root cause analysis, and trying to eliminate those. So that is what we are trying to do in our domain, in our work of being a business analyst. Diving deeper into that, business analysis is focused on bridging the gap between business goals, solutions, and we are ensuring that process for the projects and the systems, they are aligned with the organization's end objectives, the end goals that every organization has in mind. You essentially, as an analyst, will be that missing link, that gap that bridges the development team on the one side, your main stakeholders between the other side, and you will be communicating between them. You're going to be bridging that gap for them, between them, and you're going to ensure that all the processes, the requirements over there, the systems that are governing the organization, they are all in alignment with the vision, the mission, the objective, the strategies, the tactics that every organization has penned out over there. You're the missing link over there. You're going to form that gap. You're going to bridge that gap over there for them. Also, business analysis is like a systematic process where you are going to you're understanding the need of the organization. If they have proposed, the stakeholders have proposed a change, you want to understand why is this change even coming forward? What is the need for having this change? You're going to be validating all of that. You can only do that if you have understood it. You need to define, you need to understand all the business's needs, document that, make sense of it. Many a times your stakeholders, they will come to you and they'll say, okay, we need a new project, we need these improvisations. But really, you're going to give sanity to all their requests that are coming over there. You are going to make sure that, okay, these requests that your stakeholders have identified as the need, is it really what they require in order to achieve better outcomes and achieve those goals and objectives? So that is why business analysis is so important for every organization. It doesn't restrict yourself to a certain domain or a certain sector. Now, what are the skills and the qualities that you need to have to be a business analyst? Qualities are something that is dormant in each one of us as individuals, right? We'll be good communicators, we'll be, analytical thinkers, but those again are the qualities. Skills are something that can be adopted through training, through, to mentoring, shadowing. So let us look at what exactly are the skills and qualities that you would need to have as a business analyst. You need to have an adaptable mindset. You need to, because change is constant. You'll always have feedback coming in from your stakeholders, from your end users, from your customers. They might like something that you've rolled out for them. They might not. Any change that you're putting out for them, they might cozy up to that. Something they might really kind of feel otherwise. So you want to make sure that, okay, your customers, your end users, all the stakeholders are satisfied. You can only do that if you have an adaptable mindset. A lot of your work as analysts will be about, trying to understand what the problem is, what is the system in place, mapping it out, seeing your current, what it is looking like, trying to identify the target state for your audience. And then again, you're going to not just do that, but you're planning how to bridge that gap, right? A lot of this, as you would understand, is a lot of work going in over there. Having said that, when these requests for change come in there, you cannot be rigid and say, okay, fine, the plan is made, we have strategized, we've laid it out, and we are going to stick to that. Hence, you need to be more adaptable. You need to, absorb their feedback that is coming in over there, trying to make better sense of that. Absorb all the positive feedback, reflect on the negative aspect of it as well, and see how you can make things better, because that is the core function of us as analysts. You need to have an attention to detail. There are smaller aspects, because small changes make big differences, and hence you need to have that key eye. You need to be very keen to pick up any sort of minutest detail. You need to be more receptive to that. You will be working as a team, so you need to be like a team member. You cannot have a silo mindset and expect yourself to thrive as an analyst. You will be put in a development team. You may be a part of a team of more analysts, a big team of analysts over there. You will need to be working with them as a whole, as one unit. You need to function as a unit, and hence that is one very important quality as an analyst that we should be in possession of. Problem identification. You'll find yourself trying to put out a lot of fires over there, but you need to identify where the problem is lying. You need to get to the root cause of the problem, because you can't expect to have solutions in place or plan or, implement solutions without understanding what is the genesis, where is the genesis of that particular problem. So you need to be, you need to have a mindset where you can go in and try to dive deeper into the problem, trying to identify what is the start point of the problem, and only then will you be able to come up with more remedial actions for that. You need to be empathetic. So while you're there, you don't have to kind of be, very opinionated to all you will be talking to a lot of stakeholders. You will be interacting with them, trying to understand what is the business needs, what are the needs of your audience, of your end users, the customers over there. While you're doing that, you do not want to give your opinion on that. You have to be empathetic. You have to understand what is it that they're trying to tell you over there. Some of your stakeholders might be great communicators like you. Most of them might not. In that situation, you have to have an empathetic mind. You have to understand what is it, sense the emotion over there. Only then will you be able to work for your organization in putting forward better solutions, remedial actions, like I would like to call them over there. You need to have a certain bit of resilience. So like I said, it all goes hand in glove. It's like there'll be a lot of change within a particular, in a single day, you could be thrown in a lot of change requests that are coming over there. So you need to be resilient. You need to stick to your plan. You need to understand it and move forward. So these are the qualities that that an individual should have as an analyst. These are the few of them. Moving on to the skills, well, you need to have an analytical thinking mind. You have a problem, you have to try to analyze that, try to see, okay, look at it from different perspectives. Now these skills, as you look over here, there'll be data skills. You need skills in trying to understand how you're going to go ahead and elicit requirements. You have to find out from your stakeholders what are the requirements, what is it that they feel that they need for their businesses to improve and have better outcomes over there. Process modeling, you have to have the domain knowledge, stakeholder management. And then again, these aspects, these elements of skills can get polished, can get installed inside an individual through training, through, you can do mentorship, you can do shadowing. There are different routes to kind of getting these skills. Some of you might have it as a dormant factor inside of you, but then again, you need more polishing to get it out over there. And that usually happens via training, and there are different sources for that. So in a nutshell, these are the qualities and these are the skills that we need to have as analysts in order to help our businesses achieve their goals, achieve these the set objectives that they have in their mind over there. Now, the domain of business analysis, unlike from the 4 batches that I've trained, about 40 plus learners, most of them come into the first training session with having a mindset that, okay, as analysts, they're going to be helping, they're going to be, working in a software development scenario in that kind of environment. Having said that, that is not only where our work as analysts is restricted to. So the domain of business analysis is spread over diverse industries. You can do analysis, you can do BA work in the education sector like I am. You can do it in a software development setup. You can do that there. Yes, you can do it for banking, retail. There are so many industries, healthcare. So BA work is just not restricted to software development. It is just it's spread over to through a diverse portfolio of industries, so to say. It is like I said, when you are working, when you get a role, you try to, you've chosen your the domain that you want to kind of do your BA work in. You'll have to have a certain bit of expertise in that certain sector that you're working on. So that again, there are techniques, there are ways in which you can adopt, you can get all that expertise inside. Our domain of business analysis, like I said, you have to be adaptable. You have to be resilient. Why? Because there's change happening and change is constant. There's nothing permanent than change. And for that reason, you have to have continuous learning, attend webinars, CPDs, there are reading resources, go for training, things like that. So you have to be abreast, updated with all the continuous changes that are happening over there, updating that is happening in our domain, in our sector. And that is one of the important elements of our of this entire subject or this career of business analysis. Then again, when we are working as analysts, we are trying to understand what is the problem, what are the targets that the organization has, what is the achievement, what are the goals that they have in their mind, what they have set for themselves. With that in mind, you have to understand where they currently sit. Then you are going to strategize, you will be planning out solutions for them, which are very custom, very individualized for them. So it's not like a one size fits all. That really doesn't work in our BA line of work. So your solutions that you are going to offer your organizations, your businesses, are going to be very customized, right? That is what it is. And then in fact, all the work that you're going to do, any analysis work that you're going to do is going to be driven by the market trends. So depending, if you're working in retail, you want to see, okay, what is current flavor? What are the emotions running in your customer? Because ultimately it's your customers who are going to be, dictating the changes that you're going to be making. So for that, you want to see what is the market trends currently over there. Based on that, you will be able to plan better for your organization, improve the processes better for your organization over there. Hence, you want to have a very close eye towards market trends. So our domain of business analysis essentially is going to be touching upon all these elements over there. It is spread across diverse industries. If you're working in a particular industry, you'll have to have specific expertise over there. That again, you will not have it on day one. It gets built up on the job. You will learn. You will have resources. You'll have mentors. You'll be shadowing somebody. And then again, there are other professional setups wherein they give you this kind of expertise. You're going to be continuously learning. You'll be learning while you're doing a BA work. You're also going to be learning through other channels and resources. And then again, the solutions that you offer for your businesses, for your organizations, are all going to be customized. It's not going to be a single solution which is going to be applied across the board. And then solutions are also going to be based on market trends. And these market trends are going to be data that you're trying to pull in over there. And data is fact. So that is going to be the core approach point for you as an analyst. You want to work with data. You will work on data only because it's going to give you facts, and facts are going to be ending up with foolproof solutions for your organization. So you want to keep a close eye on that. These are some of the popular BA techniques that we use. This is not the exhaustive list I might like to mention over here. This is just a few of the popular ones over there. So there's something called as a SWOT analysis. These days, most organizations, even individuals, are using a SWOT analysis, trying to do a more refinement on their individual personalities also. So it's not just restricted to analysis. What happens in a SWOT analysis is we are going to have a 2x2 matrix. In that, you're going to plot up the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. We're going to be looking at the internal and external environment of the organization. And that's where we pull up all these, the findings of that. This is very important for businesses to understand where they currently are sitting. So the current, the as is situation, a SWOT analysis definitely is pivotal in understanding the current situation that the organization is currently at. When you look at the pestle analysis essentially focuses on the external environment of your business. So it focuses on elements like the political scenario, the environment as such, your social environment, the technology, the legal aspects of the businesses. So we're looking at all these elements, and then we're trying to make an informed decision. We're trying to strategize, keeping a close eye at the findings of our pestle analysis. And hence, it's very important. Stakeholder analysis. Gosh, that is going to be essentially most of your work is going to be where you're dealing with stakeholders. Stakeholders are any individual, any organization, any party who has an influence on your organization and who will get influence or who will be affected by the work that you are doing, the project that you have in your hand. And hence, stakeholders are very important. Then again, you want to understand not all your stakeholders will be very important to you as a business, depending upon the interest that they have in your organization, the power that they exert on your organizations, your business processes, the operations of your business. These stakeholders are plotted in different sectors. So there's something called as a power interest grid. That is what is used when you're analyzing your stakeholders. And stemming out of that, we have something which is called as a RACI chart. A RACI chart is essentially where you try to identify who is responsible, who is accountable, who is going to be consulted, which stakeholder is going to be, you're only going to keep them informed. So these are the tools that we use within the stakeholder analysis, trying to strategize and manage our stakeholders. So this is, again, very important. You need to have a knowledge about this because your work as analysts is going to be revolving around stakeholders. You need to understand how to keep them happy, which ones to set aside, whom to constantly keep informed, and the constant active management. You'll have to be in a better position to identify those. Process mapping. Very, very important. You need to understand how would you get an understanding about where you're sitting. For that, you need to map out the current process that you are. So you will need to have, a little skill set, or you need to have your skills, sharpened as far as UMLs are concerned, BPMLs are concerned. You have data sets over there you're playing with. So then again, you need to model up. You need to kind of map out the process that you have, and then that'll help you improvise over there. So when you have a process, so when you have document versus diagrammatically, I think our human minds are such that the picture speaks 1,000 words than the words actually that you're seeing on your screen. So if you have a process where you're kind of, you have the literature to the process, that will not be as impactful as it would having seen pictorially, graphically, or diagrammatically the entire process over there. So in the process modeling, what essentially would happen is you'd have things like swim lanes, wherein you are in a position to better identify whether handoffs are happening, whether which actor or which role in that particular process, what are the tasks assigned to that particular actor, where the handoffs are happening. Once you have visually able to depict all of that, will you be able to better understand where the wastes are lying, where there's repetition, where there's unwanted assignment of tasks, how we can improvise better. And hence your skill, your knowledge about process modeling is going to be that much more important. Gap analysis. I'm sure all of you have gone up and looked for roles before you kind of wanted to sign up for this webinar. I'm sure most of you, wanted to see what BA roles are like, what are they offering, and I think that would be one of the drawing factor to kind of sign up for webinars like this. When you look at them, most of these job roles would have some one description, one point essentially everywhere. Most of the jobs will be gap analysis, knowledge of gap analysis or experience with gap analysis. So what is gap analysis? Just to put it simply in this right now, gap analysis is about where, trying to identify where you currently are sitting at as an organization or as a business. You're identifying your target state, that will be your to be state, and you're seeing how far you are from your target state. While doing that, your work is not going to stop over there. We as analysts, we're not just about identifying where the problem is lying and where the gaps are lying. We also give them a plan as to how they are going to overcome this gap, strategizing. So that is also a very important element of your gap analysis. Gap analysis is incomplete if you're only just going to identify the current state, your target state, and leave it at that and give your business, okay, fine, these are the huge gaps. Now you do what you can. It's not about that. We as analysts, we want to tell them how they are going to overcome this gap, and we are better informed people because we have data, we have knowledge how we're going to be making sense of all the information that we have there. We have knowledge about all these BA tools, the different BA tools and techniques that are there with them. So gap analysis, just to kind of brush it up again, it's where you are currently sitting, where you need to be, your target state. You try to check them against each other, see where, how much far you are from your target, and then you plan, you strategize how you're going to overcome that gap. And that is what a gap analysis is. Root cause analysis, problems are lying everywhere. Usually what happens is when we try to act on a knee-jerk basis, you're only giving a time solution, a solution just for the time being. It's not an absolute remedy for that. So a root cause analysis is very important if you're trying to give a remedy for a particular problem. You want to dive in deeper. And for the root cause analysis, we pick up BA tools like an Ishikawa chart. We do a 5 whys. You're trying to get to the root of the problem. Once you get into this mindset, you create this as a practice. Any problem that you have, get to the root of it. Only then will you be able to have improvised processes for your organization. User stories are nothing but requirements that we kind of document when you're working in an agile framework. So there again, you're thinking from the end customer point of view. There is a certain format in which these user stories are written. User stories, again, I'd like to repeat, they are requirements that are needed for the development team to pick up and start writing the codes. The testers will eventually go on and test those codes. These user stories essentially will land up on something which is called as a product backlog. And that's where your work as an analyst is going to come in. You will be very pivotal in doing a product backlog refinement, right? So in the agile scenario, you have many ceremonies over there. There are different ceremonies, agile ceremonies. There'll be scrum, there'll be planning, there will be retrospection, demoing, and all of that. One of the important ceremonies over there, and for us as analysts, is product backlog refinement. So there what happens is, we as analysts, we pick up this user story. We try to see what is the backlog over there. We try to make these user stories, we try to refine them. We try to kind of do the documentation to the part wherein, okay, your developer will be able to understand it and start working on it. Your testers, they will be able to test them. You will be able to write test cases for them. That is why user stories are very important. And you need to have the skill to write a user story, because with every user story, you're also going to be documenting an acceptance criteria. So, these acceptance criteria form the basis for writing test cases. So you'll be supporting the development work over there by writing test cases also there. So that is why you need to have that skill and the knowledge of what a user story is. How do you write it? What is the value proposition over there for that? Moving on to requirements workshops. This is such an important technique to understand what your solution needs to have, things that it needs to have, things that they don't need to have, the requirements. Workshops are very important. And within workshops, there are other different ways of going ahead for workshops. You can have brainstorming sessions, you can have post-it note exercises, a round robin table. There are a lot of different options available to conduct within the workshop. So in a workshop, what will happen is, you will be calling different stakeholders who have a common mindset, common interests, and you'll go back and look at your stakeholder power interest grid. You'll try to see who are the right kind of people, or right kind of stakeholders rather, to invite to that workshop. Before that, you also want to understand what is the agenda. You as the analyst, as the facilitator, you need to understand what is that is prompting this workshop. Why do you even want to have this workshop? Once you are confirmed, you are clear in your mind what is the need for having the workshop, will you be in a better position to understand who are going to be the participants for the workshop, which stakeholder you want to be part of that workshop over there. Once they are in the workshop, by interacting, depending upon you're doing a brainstorming, a brain mapping, which technique you're using out there, you will be landing up with a set of requirements. There will be conflicts that come, there will be actions that are going to be agreed upon, and then again there is a certain way that you navigate, you handle that entire scenario. So you need to have the knowledge, you need to have the skill to handle a workshop, because from these workshops you are going to get the actual requirements that these stakeholders need. So there could be people who will be eventually using that solution, there will be people who are going to be working, building on the solution. So it's very important for you to listen to them empathetically. When you are in a workshop, you do not want to give your verdict on that. Your demeanor, your approach towards a workshop is to encourage them to give out more of their thoughts. You don't want to opinionate over there, don't want to break that flow of thoughts over there. So when you're in workshop, I think the frequently used word is yes, and what else, it's like that. So that is the approach that you need to have when you're in a workshop, in order to get maximum out of it. When you're going in a workshop, think about the agenda. What is it that you want to get from that workshop? You as an analyst, you need to be clear in your mind. Once you have understood what it is, only then will you be able to pull out the maximum from the participants of your workshop. So you want to be very skillful in that as well. Well, with a career progression, well, this is how it is, so you can start off for participants who are trying to dip their toes for the very first time into this domain. Junior roles, well, this is what the pay scale is like. So, you can start off as a junior analyst and then eventually land up as a chief information officer with a really nice fat paycheck over there. And then in between, you have these different steps towards, getting to that final, chief information officer role, so to say. So you can start off as a junior business analyst where you're learning on the job. You'll learn how to write your business requirement documents, your requirement catalogs. All that information is, all that knowledge and experience gain can pivot you to the next stage of a proper business analyst. At a senior level, you can be a lead business analyst, leading an entire team of maybe 15, 16 analysts. So that is how it is. And you will keep learning, and that's how you keep growing. So your role will not just stop as being a simple business analyst. It can go on to, you can be a director of the business analyst of business analysis, or you can even end up as a chief information officer. And the pay scales, definitely there is a lot of scope of progress as far as this career is concerned. Now, how do you know if this is a right fit for you, right? Like most of you, I think some of you had put it in the chat, like you want to, start working as analysts. You want to, learn, you're here for this at this webinar because you want to choose, you want to think whether this is the right one for you. So how do you decide? First up is start with a simple self-assessment. Try to identify, do a SWOT analysis on yourself. Try to identify where your strengths and where your weaknesses lie. What are your preferences of domain? Some of you might want to switch lanes. You might be coming in from different sectors. Some of you might want to switch from healthcare, maybe from insurance, from some of you, I've had learners who have been, warehouse operatives. So they have an idea of retail, how retail works. So you have a dormant an experience, a certain experience in a certain sector. So try to see which is your preferred domain. Try to analyze that. Try to see. Start with identifying where your strengths and weaknesses lie. What are your preferences of domain? What domain would you like to, start working in? Then you move on to research about this particular domain that you have an affinity or a preference for. Try to acquire knowledge about that, right? So that is going to help you in understanding how the entire operations work over this. You want to research on the specific domain. You can invest in training. So training can be maybe through boot camps, government paid ones, or maybe paid training. You can also upskill yourself by reading. You can do apprenticeships, or then you can also, hire professional services in order to align these skills that you have identified through your self-assessment. After researching your domain, the specific domain that you want to invest in and start working in, once you have analyzed and you have that information, will you be in a better position to decide, okay, what is the way forward? So you want to invest in training as well. Then another way is, you connect with industry professionals. So you can talk to them, you try to make your network, you try to get insights from them, because they are people who are constantly working, they're on the job, they have the experience, they have the knowledge. And it's not just any experience or any knowledge, it's professional knowledge. So it'd be good to talk to them, get a better understanding from them, get more insight into what it is, how is the domain, how is the sector looking like right now, what is the work over there. So things like that. So you want to have those connections going. And then remember, any success in business analysis is closely linked to your domain expertise, your continuous learning, and all your leveraging resources. Whatever resources are there. Resources don't always mean reading. It can be things like this, like webinars over here. It can be with proper training that is happening over there, specific domain expertise that is there. So, you want to go ahead and you want to keep a close eye and, use this as some of your elements in coming up and making up those informed decisions. And that is exactly why we are here. We are here to support you on a journey. You can feel free to reach out to us. We have the expertise in-house. We've got subject matter experts here. So then you have that option as well.